So we're doing these interviews on occasion of your participation in the show 10 Encounters, currently on view at Olfactory Art Keller in New York until November 13th. And so Lakenda, super happy to see you. And I was wondering if you could start us off just by introducing yourself and your practice briefly.
Hello. My name is Lakenda Wallace. I am the owner alchemist for Modern Peasant, which is a natural perfume brand. I work with plants from plant stage and process and extract as much of the scent as I can, trying to keep everything on a very naturally. No parabens, no, I guess you can say it's vegan, and then a mixture of natural isolates, essential alcohols, hydrosols, and tinctures.
That's awesome.
I love it.
That's awesome. Well, when we spoke about this exhibition, you chose to interpret a meeting, and I wanted to know if you would share the meeting you chose to interpret, a little bit of the story maybe, and sort of why you chose that one.
That is the meeting of Oshun and Ogun. It's a mythical meeting of the forces of innovation and protection. Ogun is a lot about protection, but really he's the god of iron. So he's how we've been able to make the world. Without him, it all breaks down. And I can appreciate that moment of looking at the world and going, this place sucks. You guys are using all of my inventions to kill each other. I'm out. Like locking himself away. Like I can get that. There are those moments where that's exactly how I feel, and I have to shut off the news, etc. And I love that Oshun, who is the goddess of love, the goddess of the sweet water. She is kind of the goddess of life. Without her, the earth doesn't work at all. And you have all these other gods trying to bully him out of the cave and send the dead after him, try and wash him out with flood him out, and nothing works because, hey, he's a god. Bullying doesn't work. But Oshun just creates her lake outside his cave and reminds him there are good things in life. And he comes out. And I love that. I love that it's there's something about that regeneration of hope. It's like a second start. All the other gods underestimate Oshun. They always underestimate Oshun, and Oshun always kind of puts them back in their place. Just being herself. She doesn't have to do anything but just be herself, and herself is enough.
It's a magical story.
How did you then go about, because the story is so powerful and has like such opposites, right? The love and the iron and the bullying and the creating something to appreciate and the world that makes you hide from it and the world that makes you want to be part of it. So how did you take all that and create a scent out of it? Because I see so many possible ways of how one could approach that. So which one did you go with?
I had a couple of different approaches. My first approach was very unsuccessful. I was trying to be very traditional and going by the plants that were traditionally associated with Ogun, the plants that were traditionally associated with Oshun. They really don't mix well. I found out a couple of things through that process, but it really didn't work. And I actually just decided to commune. It's almost a meditation and a dance with the scent. So there's that moment of sitting with the energy of these two great forces, water and fire, coming together. Like they're both going to have a strength to them. But it was really allowing them to speak. So, when I start thinking about Oshun, I really do start thinking of roses and jasmine. And traditionally, she's connected with honeysuckle or rum well, they're all connected with rum, but, and, basil is with all of them, but those scents didn't give me what I wanted. But as I started to really allow each of them to tell me, to find their expression, and then I smelt the white sage and I was like, that's Ogun, like there he is. It was sweet. It was a little antiseptic. It was green and herby. And I was like, those are the components to start with, because some of that green and herby goes for Oshun, but some of it was very Ogun, which then just allowed me to build the scent. What works with that? Well, I really do want to bring in a little jasmine, which was crazy because then the whole thing just kept hustling around. And the grapefruit, I'm sorry, I just did not expect that grapefruit would be the holder in the middle. And it really did. It's like a perfect alto note that just brought everything together. It was fun.
There's a metallic component to the scent that I've been trying to, I've spent a lot of time with this smell, and there's this little metallic aspect that I've been trying to figure out or puzzle through, and maybe I'm inventing it. Was that intentional?
I think that's part of the white sage. There's something, what the tincture brought out so many flavors within that, from that white sage. I was really surprised. I didn't expect it to be flat, but I didn't expect it to have so much personality. And
yeah, totally
moves. I kind of like that it moves, because I would expect that it should be very passionate and tumbling and
nice way of putting it. Tumbling passions. Andreas, do you want to ask your favorite question?
My favorite question, yes, thanks. So my favorite question is, how is it different? Like, do you think differently? Is the process differently when you think of the product as a piece of art that will be exhibited in a gallery versus when you think of it as a perfume to be worn by a person to, announce that person and like collaborate with the body odor of that person to create something? Are there different approaches? Like, how was this? Was it difficult? Is it more difficult? Is it easier? Can you tell us about that, please?
That is a good question.
That's why it's his favorite.
It is a little different. Creating for someone to wear on their body, I think my ideas run a little bit more generally. And it's definitely more like, I think I'm going to start with a rose, or I think I'm going to start with a grapefruit, or, a particular scent, and then it builds in one direction or another. Or I'm trying to bring a certain, for me, a lot of my perfuming has to do with healing. In truth, I am a survivor of abuse. And so I really understand the link between body and healing, because for me, it was the body that was the most affected. So by creating and interpreting and incorporating scent, I was able to enact my own healing. And so I really think of it in those terms for the greater public, like, scents for self-love, scent for calming, but with the art, it's almost like trying to bring a painting to life, right? Like, it's a moment in time, it's a vision, and how do you bring that moment and those emotions to nose? It's not to light, right? It's like to nose. Like, how do I create those sensations for you? It's very fun. It was thrilling. It was a little bit of a meditation and a dance. It was very good.
It's awesome. And the thing I think that's particularly, I mean, all the the art pieces that were sent are phenomenal, they're all really, really good, and they're all really, really diverse. There's like a different approach, from each smell to each smell. The thing I enjoyed about yours was the sort of, it was very explosive in a way, it felt very full and round, and yeah, it was like like, I don't know. I mean, bomb is the wrong terminology, but it felt very potent in that sense. So in my mind, it was reminiscent of the power of Ogun, and the power of Oshun.
I heard from someone, they were like, it was really sexy. And I was like, yes, that's what I wanted.
Nice.
And I kind of like that you have to do a little bit of a search to find Oshun in there. She carries everything. She's not, she's gorgeous, but she doesn't have to be front and center stage. She just kind of just does her thing. But it's there, and it carries and lifts the whole scent.
That's sort of, it's a nice interpretation of the god's attributes.
That was very, very interesting to hear what went into that creation. Looking forward to smelling it again now, knowing all this, and see if it smells different than it did before.
Nice.
And by the way, thank you for sending your amazing daughter to the opening. It was such a pleasure. I was like, oh, fam.
It was great.
New York suits her, man. She's good. She's like walks down the street like she owns the place. She's in her element. It's awesome.
She is killing it. She has she just started an internship with this massive designer. So
That's
she's
amazing.
like right in there.
Oh, that's so great. Because she wants to do fashion.
Great, 'cause she and Nico were definitely part of the smell this.
That's awesome.
Especially as I tried to get that first one right. I was holding so tight. And they were like, this just isn't working. And I'm like, I know, it smells horrible. It's funny.
Such a bummer when those things we want to make work don't work, and then you just have to accept, and let go.
I know.
Yeah.
I held on for far too long, but then, at some point.
We've all been guilty of that. Well, cool. Well, Lakenda, thank you for your time. Thanks for doing this little interview, and look forward to seeing you very soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.